How's it going, everybody? It is Dennis, and we're back with another video. And today, this week, we have some interesting news coming out. As everybody does know, or maybe you do not know, YieldMax ETFs have released a new distribution schedule, and with that, we have our first weekly YMAX YMAG distribution for the month of September. And as always, this video is not financial advice, but this is my opinion. So looking at YMAX, how much, and YMAG, how much did they pay for the first time, the first week we've ever gotten a payment from YMAX and YMAG? How much did they pay? Well, as you guys may or may not know, Twitter is a great place to follow YieldMax ETFs, and they post a lot. They post all the important information, so it's a great thing to go ahead and follow them and keep up to date. But as we can see, they have paid out 22.70 cents for YMAX and 19.79 for YMAG. They also paid OT, which is still monthly, but I don't own OT, therefore I'm not going to be going over it. But for YMAX and YMAG, I only own YMAX from the two. So for YMAX is what we're going to be focusing on. So 22.70 is what we received from YMAX. Distribution rate with that is 67.17%. And of course, our payment date is on the 20th of September, and X date is the 19th. So looking at YMAX and how much I'll be receiving from it. So if we look at YMAX, I've made a new part of the sheet because now we're switching to weekly. So now I have to track this on a weekly basis as well as a monthly basis. We're still going to keep the monthly chart here, so we could put down the amount we made on the monthly because I'm not changing all of that. But now we have the weekly as well, so we can know how much I am receiving. So for week 3, I'm currently holding 300.4515 shares. The dividend payment per share was $22.70. That gave me a total of $68.20. Assuming this was split evenly through the 4, that would give me a total of roughly $270, meaning I would have beat the YMAX goal from before, but that's of course assuming they are all evenly split. Some weeks might pay less, some weeks might pay more, because as we know, distributions are split between which payments are made or which ETFs pay on which week, because they're now split up into groups. But in general, $68.20 is not too shabby. Of course, this is the first week. We don't know how it's going to work out after this. We don't know how much it's going to pay next week, or actually where this distribution came from, because technically they are still holding the funds that they earned from this month, which was all paid at the same day. So it's going to be interesting to see how they split that up. Are they going to go ahead and add a little bit more funds into next month for us, or are they going to give everything at the end of the month, which is next week? Are they going to give us all the payments there? It's going to be interesting to see that. But 22.70 is not too shabby. Like I said, if we distribute that into 4 weeks, assuming they could keep 22.70 for each week, that is total roughly 80 cents being paid out on a monthly basis. But of course, they're not going to be able to keep that, because some groups, or some weeks which are in different groups, like Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, those groups might not pay as much as the other groups. Therefore, we will have different varieties of dividends coming in from Group A, which is week 1, Group B in week 2, Group C in week 3, and Group D week 4. So that's YMAX. But there's also QDTE and XDTE, Roundhill ETFs, that released their dividends because they are weekly paying ETFs. And I have to say, they are quite disappointing. If we go ahead and switch over to Roundhill now, Roundhill gave us a disappointing 19.86 cents per share. 19.86 cents per share. Quite disappointing. It makes sense in general. It does make sense. Of course, the QQQ did go up in value quite quick, and I assume because of that, they were able to roll their positions up. They had to buy back their positions, so they probably lost a couple daily trades. But in general, 19.86 per share is not the greatest. Of course, I think we've seen this before previously with this fund. If we go all the way down, yeah, we've seen 11.11 before. We've seen 16.34, 13.29. So I guess there is going to be weeks like this. It's not always going to be high paying dividends like we have at 38.41 like we had previously. It's not always going to be that high, but it's still sad to see. It's still close to 20 cents though, so it's not too shabby, but it's still disappointing to see Roundhill paying this amount. But hey, at least the value of the shares did go up. Now, how much are we earning from this week? Well, like I said, it's a little disappointing. 138.28 shares is how much I'm holding for this week. The dividend was $19.53 as stated, and I got a total of $27.01. And on a weekly rate, that is down by 55.70%. And of course, that's going to affect my monthly as well. If week 4 does not return as good, next week doesn't have a good return, then we're going to be negative for the month of September. But anyways, it's kind of to be expected. September is not the best month for stocks in general. We did have interest rate cuts, by the way. 50 basis points have been cut, so that's also a bull or maybe even a bear sign. It depends on how the market sees it. One other information we get from inflation, but in general, it seems like it's a bull market so far. With the 50 basis point cut, the market has went green for the past 2 days since the cut. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this affects these funds. But in general, Roundhill ETF, a little bit disappointing. At least the the value in shares did go up quite a dramatic amount. It's almost at recover. It's almost at what my average cost is. So that's good. Even though the dividends are not that high, at least it does recover. For YMAX, it's going to be interesting to see how these weekly dividends pay out. What's going to be the weekly dividend payment for the last week of September? Because like I said, they're still holding some of our funds that we were supposed to receive in that one payment. They're now splitting into multiple payments. Are they going to split it up to next month's payments? Are they going to go ahead and just give it all next week? We're going to have to see. But anyways, it's interesting how this is working. It's going to be interesting to track. As I mentioned before, I created a new little area. I just copy and pasted the Roundhill one, copy and pasted it into the YieldMax screen. So this is how we're going to be tracking YMAX and YMAX's dividends. Actually, let me change this to YMAX and not QDTE. There you go, YMAX. So now we're going to be able to track YMAX weekly dividends. Everything else besides that stays the same because, of course, as mentioned, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. So Group A, like Tesla, that's what we're going to get first on this sheet. I think Group B is AMZ. No, Group D is what the other ones I have. So in Group A, I had Tesla and GUI, and in Group D, I had AMZ and Apple. Or Tesla and GUI and AMZ and Apple. So that's going to be my first week. I'm going to get Tesla and GUI. Fourth week, I'm going to get AMZ and Apple. And of course, every other week or every week, I'm going to get YMAX. So that's going to be something we're tracking as well. And we're going to do the same thing, like I said, as we're doing for Roundhill funds, seeing what's the increase week on week, month on month, see if it's improving, if it's getting better, or blah, blah, blah. But in general, those are the dividends from YMAX, the first ever weekly dividend. That's the sad kind of dividend from Roundhill. Just a quick video for you guys. I've been quite busy this week, so couldn't get a nice video out there for you guys this week. But next week, like I said, we should get a good video coming. So be tuned for that. But in general, just quick video updating you guys on what's going on with YieldMax and Roundhill funds, what's going on with the market, 50% cut on interest. It's been a long day. So we're going to see how that affects the market, how it affects these funds. We're going to see how YMAX paying weekly affects its value and affects the dividends that it continues to pay. Will it grow? Will it get less in value? Will it grow in dividends? Will it lose dividends value? We're going to see how QDTE performs. Is it going to continue to trend downwards? Is it going to trend upwards? Will they be able to trade their options correctly? So it's going to be interesting to keep track of all these changes being made in these market area or in this little industry that's been created in the stock market of weekly and monthly paying dividends funds. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. Be sure to hit the like button as always. It is greatly appreciated. It shows this video out to more people so more people can watch and learn and understand these funds and in trading in general and different ways you could trade besides just investing in the S&P 500. So yeah, that's been me. Thank you so much for watching my quick video, and I'll see you guys next week, hopefully when I have more time to spend more time on a video. See you guys next week.